Abraham, I've been working on my self-esteem and my image that I have in myself because, like I've written here, it says each of us has established individual standards for ourselves that make us feel worthwhile. And since I am kind of stepping out into areas that are a little bit different than I've ever stepped out in and doing different things in my life to make them the things that I'm doing more successful, I have to change my self-image and I have to feel a little bit different about myself. Now, as I'm doing this, what is the most efficient way to do this, to change this self-image and self to be more successful in a speedier manner?
There are two ways. One way doesn't work as well as the other, but we'll give it to you first, for it is the one usually discovered by our physical friends, and that is practice in the new area until you get good at it and until you then trust yourself within it. Mm-hmm. Now, that area or that process works well. It has limitations. You can only get good at a certain number of things in a life experience. The other way, and you may have already guessed this is the one that we are pushing, is to acknowledge your power of attraction. See yourself as a magnet. Know that the way you feel is your indicator of what you're attracting. And then just simply go after anything that pleases you, following your guidance, utilizing the laws.
As we feel, then we attract. So as I'm trying to bring myself to the point of feeling confident in the field, of course, practice will do something, is very efficient, but...
You see, we are appreciating your question very much because it is at the heart of something that we are so much wanting all of you to understand. When you say competent at doing something, then that means you will always be feeling incompetent about things that you have not yet pursued. There is always that area of unknown where you are untrained or unskilled or not yet competent. But when you see yourself as the attractor of whatever you are wanting, of this magnificent, you see, it is not either or. It is not an iffy thing. There is not a question about whether you can do something. That is absolute. It is absolutely yours. There is nothing for you to be frightened about or uncomfortable about when you really understand that you are the attractor of your experience. And when you work hardest at being happiest so that what you are attracting suits you or pleases you, you see. Mm-hmm. This is very important understanding, because otherwise you're in that place where every time you step into a new area, then you get those feelings of insecurity. And that's what keeps most of you doing the same few things for all of your lifetime, because every time you reach a little bit beyond it, it feels insecure, tentative, or uncomfortable. And so then you do what is easier, and then your growth doesn't feel as if it is being satisfied, and then you get bored, and then you die.
Well, how about aptitude tests that when we're young, or wherever it happens, that tell us basically where we should be putting our energy? That's a mistake then, isn't it?
They are the beginning of your feeling of incompetence. One of the beginnings.
Because if they say this is what you're good at, that infers, as you say here, that there's something we're not good at.
You're good at everything. Your work is not to decide what you are better at. Your work is to decide what you prefer. Your work is to decide which things in all of this universe am I wanting to attract unto me. It is not a matter of skill. It is a matter of mental focus. It is a matter of approaching the subjects in terms of wanted rather than not wanted, in terms of the positive rather than the negative. Some concrete processes would be whenever you find yourself feeling insecure. In other words, let's say you've walked into a new arena where you are feeling not quite as secure as you are accustomed or as you would like to feel. Stop and remind yourself who you are, that you are an attractor, and reminisce about your power and about other successes. Reminding yourself that everything that you live dovetails perfectly with the laws of the universe. What makes a person or a world full of people feel inadequate or insecure or unworthy or incompetent is attention to lack. And you have yourself given attention to lack, and you've been encouraged to look at lack. It surrounds you. And in the moment that you predominantly stop giving attention to lack, you see, the only reason, let us see if we can put it in this framework. We believe you will like this very much. You've heard us tell the story of Esther walking to the gate and seeing things more clearly and hearing things more clearly and feeling things more clearly. An exaggerated state of physical experience, and then recognizing it was nothing more than Abraham peeping through her. And we've asked you, how is it that Esther was able to allow this broadness of experience? It was because she was in a positive frame, and so she positively attracted, you see. Now, a young woman called, speaking about emotions or guidance, and she said to us, Abraham, I think I have it figured out. When I am good, or I choose thoughts that are good, my inner being rewards me with a good feeling. But when I am bad, or when I am thinking bad thoughts, then I am punished in a sense. She did not use that word, but it's what she meant. The old good, evil, devil with the pitchfork routine. I receive this negative prodding. And what we are wanting you to understand is that negative emotion, negative, evil, devil, all of those things that you read as opposite from good do not exist. It is only that they exist in terms of being the absence of what is wanted, you see. Now, when you come to understand that your inner being, and we say this to you as clearly as we can state it, your inner being exists in this place, in this state of being, of pure, passionate, positive emotion. And so in a moment that you are feeling insecure, all that has happened is that you have stepped outside of who you really are. When you are feeling powerful and wonderful and filled with love and well-being, you are resonating with the very core of your being, and that's what feels so wonderful. Negative emotion is nothing more than the absence of that sense of who you really are. That's what negative emotion is. So insecurity would come to you in a time when you're beating up on yourself, when you're feeling lack about yourself, and your inner being isn't having any of that. And so if you were standing at Esther's gate, you would not, under those conditions, be able to attract your inner being to you, because you are consciously choosing something other than that. And so the way to get to that place of security is not to become more skilled, not to become faster or smarter or more practiced at it. The way to get to that place of security is to intend to resonate more with who you are, to make the statement, I want to feel good. And which is another way of saying, I want to stay connected with my inner being. I want to stay connected with the whole of me. I do not want to diverge from who I really am and feel the absence of my power or insecurity, or the absence of my joy or pain, or the absence of my abundance or poverty. I'm not wanting to experience any of that lack. I'm wanting to experience the fullness of my being. And the surest route to that is to say, I want to feel good. And you can even add a because if you want. Because I know who I am within, and I'm wanting to be that more often through my physical eyes. We know it takes some doing, because the world that surrounds you predominantly does not. Mass consciousness looks at lack. And so we know that it takes some conscious intent to keep yourself in a place of feeling good. But it is a lot easier than all the things you train yourselves about. You could accomplish that far easier than all of the skill that you think will get you to the place of security. Truly.